What's up, everyone? Welcome to my SmackDown post show. It is Denise Salcedo. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It is the Wrestlemania edition of SmackDown, April 9th. Tomorrow is night one of WrestleMania. So today was the SmackDown Go Home show leading into the big event. And we kind of have plenty to talk about here tonight. But before I get started, I do want to remind you all that this is a very interactive stream. So if you guys want to share your thoughts, comments, or questions in the chat, please go ahead and do so. Send those in. I do want to get your thoughts on everything that played out here tonight on the show and all of that. Now, before we get started, I do want to remind you guys all that for those of you who do not know, pretty much starting already, but I now have 3 shows here on F4W Online here on the YouTube channel. I now have 3 shows. So on Tuesdays, I will be going live to talk about NXT. Wednesdays, I will be going live to talk about AEW Dynamite, as I have been the past several months. And then now Friday, like today, coming on here to talk about SmackDown. So a lot of you guys know that already, but for those of you guys who don't know that, I wanted to make sure that you are fully aware so you can come in and check out the shows. They're always a really good time, very interactive, and everybody kind of has a good time. Also, friendly reminder, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to F4W Online. Let's see those subscriptions going up. If you're listening into the audio version of this or you're watching the replay of this video, make sure that you make the time to head on over to F4W on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. I'm seeing a lot of hellos. What's up to everybody here for coming on. So let's kind of kick things off with the fact that given that this was the go home show for WrestleMania, SmackDown, WrestleMania edition, how did you guys feel overall about SmackDown? Did you like the show? Did you think it was okay? Did you think it was better than expected? Did it fall short of the expectations? Go ahead and send in your thoughts on this because I am curious. I know I asked people on Twitter and social media, and for the most part, I kind of got some mixed reactions. So I am curious as to what you guys think here. I'll go ahead and start reading some comments. So this first one here is from Joseph, who says, it felt like they had no idea on how to fill these 2 hours of content, hence this episode. Sort of like 205 Live. They didn't film last week because they had to be out by last Friday. Thank you so much to Sam for sending in a super chat who says, do you think Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey will return at WrestleMania 37 this weekend? Well, so we did have that, and I think I still have it in here. This graphic, this is from Becky Lynch's Instagram page where she kind of posted giving an Easter egg that she might be appearing on night one of WrestleMania. So I think that definitely got a lot of people talking. But hey, she could just kind of be trying to get people psyched, trying to get people excited, trying to get people talking. So I do not know if she's going to be back at WrestleMania. Obviously, based on this Instagram post that she tweeted, the chances of her showing up have definitely increased. As for Ronda Rousey, I do not know either, but I know that I would love that very much. I would love to see either Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey show up at WrestleMania. So, will it happen? I don't know. Also, going back to Becky Lynch, I know that at the Royal Rumble, she also shared that, shot of the red curtain and kind of making it seem like she was going to come out, tease people a little bit, but that obviously didn't end up happening. We have another super chat from Scott Woodford. Thank you so much for sending in this super chat. He says that this was a terrible go-home show. Bad promos. The tag team match was the best part. The tag team match was one of the best parts of the night. Definitely the best match of the night. That's for sure. We didn't even have that very many matches. I think we actually had 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think we only had 3 matches, and I will be going over them as we go about this show here. And let's see what else you guys are saying. So this is a comment from Aaron who says that Daniel Bryan cut the best promo of his life. What a promo it was. I definitely think that given that this big triple threat match is happening at WrestleMania tonight, if you already had a decision made about who you wanted to win at WrestleMania, either tonight definitely solidified your option, your person, you wanted it even more for that person, or now you probably have been swayed in a different direction. So Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge all had phenomenal promo work here tonight. Phenomenal stuff. However, I do think that Daniel Bryan took the cake when it came to the best promo works of the night. Now, some of you guys may disagree. I know a lot of people really like the Edge promo. Personally, I wasn't as crazy about it as some other people were. Roman Reigns, I love the promo as well, but I just definitely thought that Daniel Bryan probably was the one that was the best for me, in my opinion, at least. And let's see what else we have here. We have several thoughts here. We have one from Jake who says, I like the idea of a special SmackDown heading into WrestleMania, especially having it on the network like Fox, but they should have put bigger names on this episode, legit Mania type matches. I think one of the things that kind of made this a miss for SmackDown was I think they had too much it kind of felt like a pre-show. They had a lot of stuff that I kind of started tuning out because I was like, okay, I've been watching each and every single show. I know what's been happening. I don't need the recaps for each and every single thing. So I did think that they could have put a lot more into this episode than they did. So also more matches to further along some of these, these upcoming matches that we're having at WrestleMania would have been nice. I didn't necessarily need to see Nia Jax versus Tamina. I'll get into that more later on, but I did think that this episode could have been a little bit stronger, but for the most part, it was what it was. We have a comment from Aidan who says that he's definitely more excited for the Roman Edge Bryan match than he was before the show. See, I don't feel that way only because I was already looking forward to this match. Like, this match was already the match that I was most excited for, most looking forward to come WrestleMania. So this one for me kind of just took it to that next level with all of the promo work for tonight, but this one was already the number one for me. And we have a comment from Brandon who says that Bayley is too good to not be at Mania this year. There's a lot of people that aren't on WrestleMania this year that I'm like, that person could have easily been on the WrestleMania card and it's not. And I will talk more about that as we go through the entire show. But let's go ahead and kick things off. So let's start off with the opening segment, which was actually Daniel Bryan's promo. So Daniel Bryan comes out today and he says, he's very excited for WrestleMania, talks about all the things that he's looking forward to. And then he goes on and starts talking about how in his whole, all his career, people have constantly been saying no to him, no to this, no to that. And he gave several examples of the amount of times that he's received no's. And in quote, he said, every time life has told me no, I said yes. And boy, oh boy, did I seriously feel like Daniel Bryan was speaking to me. And this was a great babyface promo because how many other people weren't like me watching at home thinking, I relate to Daniel Bryan. This guy is my champion. He should be the champion because I relate to him. And he spoke for the people. And that is why Daniel Bryan's promo work was absolutely fantastic. Came across perfect babyface promo, straight to the point. He didn't babble on and on, which I felt Edge did on his promo today. I did feel that it was super long-winded. There were some great moments in there, but I think he could have got it straight to the point. So I loved this promo by Daniel Bryan. We have another super chat from Christopher Marino who says, I love Bryan, one of my all-time favorites, but I need Roman to kill both Bryan and Edge. See, here's the thing too, is that, and I was talking about this earlier today on my prediction show for WrestleMania, but when it comes to this match, there's only two options that personally I want to see, and I am curious as to what you guys think of this. I either want to see Roman Reigns keep his title, continue the streak that he has been on, just killing people nonstop, continue everything that he's been doing because he has been killing it, right? Or I want to see Daniel Bryan have that moment. And after tonight, I'm a little bit more leaning towards the direction of wanting to see Daniel Bryan get his WrestleMania moment. And that was one of those things where I think even earlier today, I was a little bit like, well, whatever happens, I'm happy with whatever happens. But after tonight, I'm like, no, I need this Daniel Bryan moment now or never. Like, I feel it, I feel it. And that's what the Daniel Bryan promo did for me on this one here. So thank you so much to Christopher for sending in this super chat. We have a comment from Alyssa who says, don't like the Edge promo, hit miss, don't care about Edge in the match. Jey wasn't good for Daniel. Win or Roman Reigns, keep belt, see Roman Reigns, wants to see the belt on Roman Reigns. And okay, so yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think we've been seeing a lot of people with strong opinions on who they think should actually walk out as champion, whether or not Roman Reigns should retain his belt or not. So we'll find out. Let's go ahead and move on. So after this, one of the matches that had been promoted for a little bit now on SmackDown, and it was for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, the Fatal 4-Way match between the Street Profits versus Rey and Dominik versus the Dirty Dogs, Roode and Ziggler versus Otis and Gable. So I'm going to start things off by saying that, so we had Roode and Ziggler retain tonight. And quite frankly, I don't really care. Like, I don't know how else to say this, but I'm not that big of a fan of the Dirty Dogs. I kind of find them, and I hate to say this, but I kind of find them a little bit boring. I'm not a fan. So for me, I was kind of hoping for a title change here tonight. Truthfully, I didn't even care who. I would have taken anybody else. I just haven't really been feeling them as a team. Like, they're great in the ring, all of that, but there needs to be a little bit more with them for me to actually want to see them as champions. So for me, I'm out the door on this one. But aside from that, I do have several comments to make about this. And one of the first things that I do have to say is on night one of WrestleMania, we're getting the women's tag team turmoil match, which I said this on another show. I get why they're putting that match on WrestleMania night one, but it doesn't make sense to me to have the SmackDown tag team titles bumped to SmackDown instead of having it on either night one or night two of WrestleMania. Like, I think the tag team turmoil should have occurred on Raw instead of actually bumping down the actual championship match with the SmackDown tag team titles. For me, it kind of feels like a demotion to have that Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown instead of the actual WrestleMania card. Now, I get it. It was, probably got a lot of people feeling very excited about this special WrestleMania edition, but I personally think that it would have made more sense to actually have this match on WrestleMania. And this match was good. It was a fun little match. So it makes me think that it could have been even that much better had it actually occurred at WrestleMania. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and let me know what you think of all of this, and then we'll kind of dive into this match a little bit more. So let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from, let's see. I'm going to read this one from Pro Wrestling TV, who says, these multi-team tag matches are blah, just a bunch of spots with no psychology, a bunch of stuff at 100 miles per hour. See, I don't necessarily mind that. So call me a spot monkey, whatever. I like the spots. I'm here for the spots. It's what I was expecting in this Fatal 4-Way match. Like, when you look at the lineup, you're going to be expecting some cool stuff, especially from the Street Profits and, Rey Mysterio and just all of that. So we have a comment here from Jake who says, what a waste of Ziggler. They are 8 years late on his window and they haven't given him anything to grow since. Put the titles on someone else. Yeah, Ziggler's moment has passed a long time ago. So that's how I feel about that. But as for this actual match, my favorite parts were, I love teamwork between Rey Mysterio and Dominik. I think that each and every single week, their teamwork has smoothed out. Every week, they've gotten better and better as a team. And obviously, this is Rey obviously helping Dominik and all of that. So you have seen some improvement. And this match didn't, for me, start really getting good until Dawkins got the hot tag and he came into this match. The second Dawkins came into this match really picked up. And I loved the finish. The finish to me was made by Chad Gable. Chad Gable made the finish exciting. He made the last few minutes of this match exciting. And in the end, Again, we saw Roode and Ziggler retain, so I was sort of disappointed. I really didn't care for this one. So I kind of felt like, oh, like, you know, this is a special edition of WrestleMania. I was kind of hoping for a moment. And there was actually so after Dominic hit the frog splash, I thought that they really were going to give the belts to Rey and Dom, especially because commentary kept putting it over. And I started thinking, well, what if they actually do it? What if they actually give them this moment here? But they didn't, so this felt a little blah. And let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from D-Train who says, Roode doesn't feel so glorious anymore. Oh, that's terrible. Brandon says, I wish they would have just had one tag title instead of a Raw and SmackDown tag team titles. It would make being a tag champ much more special. Dude, they had a chance to do this. They really, really did. And they just didn't. The moment's passed now. So now we're just gonna have both titles, both Raw and SmackDown. Like, they had the opportunity to do that and they didn't. And it's too bad because I do think it would have been, sometimes I think it would have been a lot better, but then sometimes I'm like, man, they would just be too much complication. So at the same time, I'm like, all right, maybe they should just stay with having the separate tag team titles for both brands. But I do think it would have been nice to have one tag team titles for the whole men's tag team division. But it is what it is on that one here. All right, guys, as we continue on, do not forget to send in your questions, your comments, all your thoughts. Send them into the chat. I will be reading them as we go through each and every single topic here today. Now, before I move forward, I do want to do a couple of plugs. So real quickly, tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I am going to be appearing on WWE's The Great Debate. So I come on and I literally just argue with RJ City and Matt Camp while Evan Mack judges, and we basically argue about what is the best WrestleMania entrance ever. So that is going to be across all of WWE's social media platforms and all of that. I'll be sharing the links on my Twitter @_ Denise Salcedo. So if you guys want to watch the show, come support me. It would really help me out if you guys tag WWE and let them know that you're a big fan of mine and that you like me, and hopefully they invite me back for more shows. All right. Also, quick plug, I do have an interview with Braun Strowman up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, heading into this match with Shane McMahon. I talked to him about it. It was a really fun, very quick interview, but very, very fun interview. So if you guys want to check that out, you are more than welcome to. All right. Aaron says Triple H has had to have the best entrance. I don't care. Well, you will have to wait and see. You will have to wait and see what I said on that show when you watch tomorrow. All right. Let's go ahead and move on, guys. So after this, after the fatal 4-way match, we had a quick. I liked this. Let's talk about this. So we had a video package, a Big E video package where he's getting his haircut. He's going to his old school. I love this. It was a change of scenery. I like the little, I guess you can say, behind the scenes of, somebody who has this big match at WrestleMania getting ready for the actual event. And that is exactly what we got to see in this video package. I was a fan of this. I really, really enjoyed this. So if you guys, let's see what you guys are saying here. All right. Oh, everybody's talking about the appearance. Yay. Thank you so much for talking about it. Jake Larson says, RJ City is a character. Stay on your toes. Oh, I went toe to toe with RJ City. Oh, you will see it. You will see it. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. And let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Joseph who says, dang, didn't think that WWE was still filming content for Mania Week. Want to know something funny? WrestleMania After Dark with WWE The Bum Friend. RJ City hosting at midnight after night 1 of Mania. All right, let's go ahead and move on from this. All right, so after this we had, all right, so I hope that you guys have something positive to say about this one, because I really, really do not, guys. I do not have anything positive to say about this next match. But before we move on, I do want to hear this comment from Pro Wrestling TV who says, The production is always great on these WWE pieces. And yeah, the Biggie business was a nice change of pace. Aaron also notes that he loved the video package, was a more serious promo from Biggie, and giving an insight into his life was great. I 100% agree with that. 100%. But now we had Nia Jax versus Tamina. I kind of I don't know how to say this, but in the nicest way possible, I didn't have any interest in this match. No interest whatsoever. I get why they did it in terms of, hey, they're promoting this tag team turmoil. Obviously, Nia Jax and Shayna, will be defending their titles against whoever wins that tag team turmoil. Tamina's teaming with Natalya in that and all of that. I get it, but I just felt, why not put some of the other girls in an actual tag team match and give them something, Like, my hopes for the tag team turmoil is that we see the Riot Squad win. I want to see, and I know this is probably not going to happen, but I do want to see the Riot Squad I want to see them win the tag team turmoil and then go on to defeat Nia and Shayna. So the fact that I don't think that's going to happen, because all the women that were in this match are going to be in this match was a backstage brawl. And that's fine and dandy. But I actually think that a match between, one of those teams would have been a lot better heading into this. I didn't really care for watching Nia Jax versus Tamina. No finish in this match even. However, I do want to take a second. I did notice, though, that Tamina has really, really gotten herself in shape. She did look good in that. She did look good in that sense in this match. But this was not a good match. There was nothing that really occurred in this match where I felt like, oh, we need to talk about this. No, other than the fact that I just really didn't care for this. And I really do think that we could have seen an alternative to promote this tag team turmoil match that we are getting. Pretty much basically here, what I'm seeing based on the chat section is that people think that this was really not that great. Nope, it really wasn't, guys. There really wasn't anything there. I don't even get why it got, I don't even get why it got made, why it got put on the show today. But there you go. That happened. Now, here's the thing, though, that the things that SmackDown did get right today was the promo work, the video packages, all of that was great. We had another great moment, this was the Seth Rollins and Cesaro ad, and this was run more like a political campaign. We all saw those during this presidential campaign. We were seeing them everywhere. So-and-so comes on and talks about the other person. But this one was really cool because you had essentially this political campaign that was supposedly not paid for by Seth Rollins, but by Seth Rollins' friends. And all it does is bury Cesaro, bury the fact that he's never had a singles match at WrestleMania, bury the fact that he's never been a Universal Champion, and goes on to say, the voiceover goes on to say, oh, do you really want this man to do you really want to get behind this man when you can get behind Seth Rollins? So I really like this political type of ad campaign that Seth Rollins did here. I thought it was really funny and really clever. So I was actually a really big fan of this. However, we have a comment from Christopher who said that it was awful. Oh wait, never mind. I think this is in regards to the actual Tamina match. Never mind. And all right. Okay, so yeah, good stuff there. I love this. Again, just a bunch of comments about how this was a great segment. It really was. I like this. So now I feel like this one here, a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, and that is perfectly fine, but I do have to be honest about this. So we had the Edge promo tonight, and based on social media and everything that I saw people writing, everybody was saying how this promo was really good. People really liked it, and this is the Edge they want to see. And while yes, this was a good promo, I truthfully did not feel like it was anything different than I've already heard. I feel like I've already heard Edge say these things. I feel like I've already seen this from Edge. So it didn't really feel like anything new per se to me. to me, it felt the same to a lot of what we've been seeing with Edge. So for me, this didn't necessarily hit the mark. It just it was there for me. I wasn't really that big of a fan of this. I feel like Edge wasn't a strong enough heel like Roman Reigns, and he wasn't a strong enough babyface like Daniel Bryan. So you just kind of caught him in between, and that's what we've been seeing. And I feel that that's why probably some people like myself can't necessarily get behind Edge on this one to actually win this match. He comes out, basically says he doesn't want to be a shell of his former self and wants respect to his name. He says, quote, "You have no idea the pain that I have gone through to get this back," talking about his neck problems and everything that he did to make it back here. And then he ends it with, "I will be the next Universal Champion because I've dreamt it and now I manifest it." With this later on plays into what a lot of what Roman Reigns says when he talks about dreamers in his promo. But for the most part, I kind of felt like, okay, I've seen there, been there, done that with Edge on this one. But if you have a difference of opinion, go ahead and send it in. Share it. I don't mind. All right, let's see. Oh, Cyclops says, "That old man needs to stop crying, LOL. Oh, let's not be so harsh to Edge. I don't want to be this harsh to Edge because I like Edge. I'm a fan of Edge, believe it or not. It's just that thank you. Stephen Goodwin says, "I've heard this promo 100 times. That is exactly how I felt. And so I kind of felt like I was missing something when I saw everybody was saying that they liked it. I was like, oh man, that's what I hate, guys. I hate this. So I hate when I see, this is terrible, but I hate when I see everybody like something that I didn't like. Cause then I'm like, crap, now I have to come onto the show. I gotta be the heel. I gotta tell everybody I didn't like this. So it's this crazy whatever. But I'm like, you know what? If I need to be honest with what I like and what I don't like. And I feel like I've, for the most part, have stayed very true to that. Because if I come on here and I tell you, hey, I liked this, and let's be real, you can tell that I really didn't like it, I think it's definitely going to come through. So I always make sure to be honest about whether or not I like something. So yeah, I didn't really like this, but at least now, when I tell you I like something, you will believe it. Let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Pro Wrestling TV who says, "I can't believe that they screwed up Edge going into Mania as a babyface. It should have been a no-brainer, and they messed it up to the point that they had to bring in Bryan." Yeah, it really was that. Like, I can't even tell you. I can't pinpoint exactly where this went downhill for Edge. I really can't pinpoint where it all went downhill, but it didn't stick. I don't think it carried through a lot. Edge's return and all of the momentum and all of the hype from that carried through, I think, in the Randy Orton feud for the most part. I was like, I'm still rooting for Edge. I'm rooting for Edge. I'm a fan of Edge. But on to this next feud, this next major feud with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. If they were to say tomorrow, hey, this match is just going to be Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, and obviously that's not going to happen, but let's just say that was going to happen, I would be like, all right, cool, okay. I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, what a bummer, I wouldn't be like that. And if anything, when it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Edge, I was actually clamoring to see Daniel Bryan added to this main event. I was happier when Daniel Bryan got added to this main event. So personally, that's where I stand on all of this. Jake Larson says, if Bryan and Roman continually getting A's and promos, then when Edge gets a B, it stands out. I guess, yeah, okay. And let's see, we have some couple more comments here. And this one is from Aaron, who says, Edge has some great facial expressions. I liked when he said no one mentioned it was the anniversary since we retired. I enjoyed that. Yeah, like I said, this had some good moments in there. I've heard it before, but thank you so much for coming out here and pointing out what you did like about this. I appreciate that. Brandon says, Edge could have had a great babyface story before they messed up his return this year. Coming back to win the title, he never lost. Would have been a great story, but he became quickly unlikable. Yeah, I think that's probably the key words there, quickly unlikable, which you got to keep that likability, obviously. And even I almost feel like even with Drew McIntyre, I know a lot of people were kind of feeling that way with him, you know, once he was champion, like people were behind him. He became champion. People were excited about it. And then I think after every week went by, we saw less and less interest in Drew McIntyre as champion. And unfortunately, that hurt him there too. And I didn't even realize it until I started, you know, talking to people. And a lot of people had that to say about Drew McIntyre. So again, like once you become a baby face, like you got to keep that likability, and not a lot of people can do it. Obviously, Daniel Bryan can. We have a super chat from Christopher Marino who says, I thought his promo kept jumping from face to heel. So that's what we've been seeing with Edge too, each and every single week. And I think I was complaining about this last week, is that there's certain weeks where he would come out, he's a baby face, right? Next week, comes back out, he's a heel. Next week, comes back out, he's a face, then a heel, then a face. It just went back and forth too much. And that's what I meant by he wasn't a strong enough heel like Roman Reigns, and he wasn't a strong enough babyface like Daniel Bryan. So that kind of puts you in like I'm not doing either or good enough, essentially. So I hope that, you know, things do pick up with Edge. I really do, because again, I am a fan of Edge, regardless of all of this nonsense that I've been saying here. But thank you so much to Christopher Marino for that super chat. I really appreciate it. And Vince 2002 says that it went downhill for Edge once he chose to go against Roman. Yeah, and like even when Kevin Owens was feuding with Roman, Kevin Owens was the perfect person to feud with Roman Reigns, because Kevin Owens was he was likable. He was likable. He was interesting. You bought everything that he came out and he said. And even though they had, you know, several matches, I was still engaged and interested in each and every single match that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns were having, because Kevin Owens came across as likable, and he was the complete opposite of Roman Reigns, who was, you know, doing the best heel work, is doing some of the best heel work of his life. So you need people like a Kevin Owens, like a Daniel Bryan, to really just make that stronger heel in Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is already doing his part. Roman Reigns is doing his part as a heel. Now you just need a polar opposite to do their part. And the person doing it right now is Daniel Bryan. Oof, I went on a rant about that. I wasn't even expecting all of that to come out, guys. Boy, did I get worked up here. And we have a comment from BM, a question rather. BM says, would Edge retire without being champ though? I mean, he can have, you know, he can have a nice little run, but I don't see him right now as champion though. I just don't think the moment is there. Like, he can do other stuff and, you know, be great at it. It's just right now, I have interest, and I feel a lot of other people have interest as somebody else's champion, whether that be Roman Reigns, whether that be Daniel Bryan, or whether that even be the possibility of someone entirely different for the near future. All right, and let's see what else we're getting in here. We have a comment from Joseph. I won't even try to say your last name. Chirachella. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I love the way it's spelled. Joseph says, Bryan is just in this match to eat a pin. They don't want Reigns to lose a title, and they don't want Edge to lose a one-on-one match. I really hope that that's not the case. Like, I really, really hope that's not the case. And if Daniel Bryan doesn't win this match, oh my God, I don't know. I don't want to see him be the one in there just to eat this pin. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. So I don't like the sound of that. I really, really did not like the sound of it. We have a comment from, we'll get into this one. We'll talk about this Sasha Banks Bianca Belair match once we get there. But we have a comment from Pomi Wrestling who says, what do you think the reaction for each guy will be with the live crowd? Will Edge or Bryan get more cheers? So I kind of put out a couple weeks ago, I put out this tweet asking people, like, what are we doing? Are we cheering for Edge? Are we not cheering for Edge? Because I know people are going to cheer for Daniel Bryan. That's a given, right? I do think people will cheer for Edge, because at the end of the day, he had this grand return at the Royal Rumble. And then, you know, shortly thereafter, COVID became a thing. We got into this pandemic. So I don't think enough crowds really got to enjoy having Edge come out. And I think at the end of the day, people are still fans of Edge, obviously. And so when he comes out, you're going to be like, you're going to forget everything. You're going to be like, oh, it's Edge and he's back. And this is the first time I'm seeing him live. So I do think that Edge will get cheered in this match. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. That is going to be one of the exciting things about WrestleMania, and that is one of the most talked about topics heading into WrestleMania is what is the crowd reaction going to be like? How are people going to react to this person, to that person? You have the same questions with Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, with Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. So many different matches. You're wondering what is the crowd reaction going to be like? And this is a major one here. What is that crowd reaction going to be like? Because to be honest, I don't know. Like if I were at WrestleMania, I don't necessarily think that I can see myself right now booing Roman Reigns. Like I know I'm supposed to be booing Roman Reigns, but I don't want to boo Roman Reigns. I don't want to boo him, but I know I'm supposed to. But do I want to do it? I don't. And then with Edge, like I feel like I would also applaud for him because again, he's back. And, you know, we haven't enjoyed that as a live audience. And Daniel Bryan, I'm going to cheer him too. So I think at this point, I'm going to cheer everybody. But we'll see what actually happens. I think people will boo Roman Reigns because they know they're supposed to boo Roman Reigns. So I do think Roman Reigns will get those boos, though. He might get more of a mixed reaction, actually, out of everybody. Because you're going to have those people that are like, okay, I know I'm supposed to boo Roman Reigns, so I'm going to do it. But then you have other people that are like, nah, I love what Roman Reigns is doing, so I'm just going to clap the hell for Roman Reigns. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, Karate -1 says Roman is not getting booed. Again, this depends on your mentality. If you know the person's supposed to get booed, you're booed. If not, you'll boo what I just said right now. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on here. So after the Edge promo, we had the Sami Zayn, Logan Paul, Jake Paul video play. So basically, they show a video of Sami Zayn showing up to Logan Paul and Jake Paul's training facility where they're training, and they're sort of taken aback because they're not expecting him whatsoever to be there. And Sami Zayn's like, oh, like, yeah, like he's all excited to be there, and they're kind of just like, WTF, who invited this guy? Sami Zayn leaves, tries to come back, but the security guard's like, nah, bro, you ain't coming back in. Closes the door on him, and Sami's just like banging on the door. Then they come back on SmackDown, and essentially he's pissed because they showed this video. They said that they're like just showing the clips that they want to show, and starts adding that this is part of his conspiracy. Then Kevin Owens comes out and attacks him, and eventually Sami Zayn runs off. So the Paul brothers, we got to see them tonight. I thought that this was a very nice, simple, funny little skit. It was perfectly fine. I thought that it went perfectly fine with what Sami Zayn has been doing. We got to see the Paul brothers, so maybe that's a plus. I don't know anymore. I like this. I thought this was perfectly fine, and I was even surprised that they even did this today. I thought we weren't going to see Logan Paul up until WrestleMania, so I wasn't even expecting him really on SmackDown, but there you go. Let's see, what did you guys think about this one? This one is from Kaled Adam, who says, Sami getting locked out was funny. It was funny. And like I said this last week, but seriously though, Sami Zayn is the only person that can pull this off. He's the only person. It works perfectly fine. Like his character, and even though, you know, some people may, he's supposed to be like annoying or delusional or all of that, right? But he's actually coming across as very, very enjoyable. So I really like everything that they're doing in here. But what did you guys also think here? So we have a comment from Joseph who says that he zoned out during this segment. It's another attempt at promoting April 17, Jake versus Ben Askren. Ben Askren boxing, and then Cyclops says, I have no interest in the Paul brothers at all, but I love everything Sami does besides this. Yeah, again, this might not have worked with anybody else, but it's working with them. Vids 2002 says, Sami deserves better though. I get better in terms of more serious roles, you know, bigger moments. I get all of that. I really, really do. But I actually think that this comedic thing that Sami Zayn is doing is showing his range. Like, he can do so much, and we've already known that he can do the comedic side. We've already known that for a very long time. So I don't mind this. And he's getting this match against Kevin Owens, and we already know that it's going to be good. So I actually feel that there's a lot of pros in this situation. Like, he's gonna have this awesome match with Kevin Owens. I feel like that's a given. They're gonna get publicity off of Logan Paul being part of it, no matter what. That, say what you want, whatever you want to say about Logan Paul, but the point is that publicity will be there. So there you go. You get a nice mainstream rub from that. So I don't think that I think there's a lot of pros to this. I really, really do. And let's see what else we have here. But in terms of, does Sami deserve better? Yeah, I want to see him take more seriously. But for right now, for what they're doing, I'm completely interested in what they're doing right now. And let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Tamzid, who says, honestly, what was the point of hosting the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on SmackDown instead of WrestleMania 37? Man, there really wasn't that much to talk about there, but we will talk about it later today. So as we continue on, I go through the show chronologically, so we will get there at some point to talk about that. Well, towards the end, really. All right, guys, let's go ahead. We have another comment from Joseph who says, Sami is the best heel on SmackDown, but I can't see another match between him and Owens. Sheamus' ceiling is mid-card champion. I do want to see this match with Kevin Owens, though. I think it's going to be great. And I think that I have my prediction is that Kevin Owens will give a stunner over to Logan Paul. And I think that's going to be a nice pop for everybody. Like, the crowd will pop. So I think that they are going to make this into a nice WrestleMania moment. So personally, I am looking forward to it. Vince 2002 says Sami versus Owens shouldn't be happening again yet because the build was so weak. The only ones making out in this are the Pauls, except Sami and Owens getting a check. Now, I actually think that this worked out because even prior to this, Kevin Owens had that feud with Roman Reigns, right? And that lasted a bit. But what was Kevin Owens doing before that? They kind of had him just doing a bunch of random things. They weren't really doing anything with him until he started feuding with Roman Reigns. And then eventually, hey, he gets this match at WrestleMania with Sami Zayn. But aside from that, what else were they doing with Kevin Owens? They had that weird thing where he was getting attacked by Aleister Black for a while, but that never went anywhere. He got involved in the Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross friendship. That didn't go anywhere. So they weren't really doing much there with Kevin Owens. So I feel that this is definitely the best option for him to actually have a WrestleMania match. And who better else than with Sami Zayn, and especially with Kevin Owens working as a babyface in this match instead of working as a heel in this match. So it does change the dynamics between the previous Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn matches that we've been having. All right, let's go ahead and move on. All right, we do have a comment from Pomi, and I'll read this one. It says, I don't like Logan Paul's involvement in the storyline, but it's not like this was a match with months of build, so I'm okay with it getting some mainstream attention for the match. Yeah, and again, that's one of the things that I said when a lot of people were upset about Logan Paul being incorporated into this. It's like, he's not being incorporated into a big match like a Roman Reigns match, okay? That's not happening. Like, this is essentially a mid-card feud. It was based off of a fake documentary. So I think it was a perfectly fine addition to it. And so let's see, we have another super chat. This one is from Kaled Adam. Thank you so much to Kaled. You guys are rolling in with them super chats. Thank you guys so much. Kaled Adam says, thoughts on Sonya Deville's role on SmackDown? How can I have thoughts on this when she's kind of hardly ever seen? Like, we see her sporadically, but I really was expecting a whole lot more with Sonya Deville. And I get it. She's going through a lot right now, and we don't really know what everything else that she might be dealing with at the moment. But I would like to see more of her, especially because she was at the point prior to, that crazy guy trying to get at her. Prior to that, she was doing her best work, and it took her so long to even get to that spot, to even be taken seriously. That she made her feud with Mandy Rose. I I was interested. I was invested in it. It made me like Mandy Rose so much more. It made me want to see them do more with Mandy Rose because I got to see this potential in her. And obviously the same thing with Sonya Deville. I got to see a lot that I didn't even realize Sonya Deville had in her. And then we got to see it. And, you know, they had this nice little match, her and Mandy. And then unfortunately, you know, with all of the, you know, terrible things that happened to her, it's like that sort of derailed things. And that's very, very unfortunate. But now that she's back, I would like to see her in a similar situation where she was prior to this. So thank you so much to Kaled Adam for sending in that super chat. I very much appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So this one again falls in, this is usually on WrestleMania, and this time it was not. So going into this, I don't know if I've said how many times I've said that. I don't think I've said this before, but to be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of battle royals for the most part. Like, you think I would be, but I really am not. So I don't know if other people were excited for this match. I don't know. I wasn't. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm not really all that crazy about it, but let's see who wins, right? And when this match started, I started thinking, man, like, I can't believe that Jey Uso doesn't have a match on WrestleMania. And the reason why I say that is because Jey Uso was put in a situation with Roman Reigns that I'm sure WWE expected to last a couple of weeks, right? But he played the part so well, and everything that he did with Roman Reigns got over so well, became one of the best storylines they've had in a very long time. And so that ended up being extended for several months, right? So I thought to myself, dude, Jey Uso should definitely be having some sort of a match at WrestleMania as a reward for everything that, you know, he did working with Roman Reigns. And so then I thought, all right, well, he's not going to get a WrestleMania match. That's already been settled. Fine. Maybe he should win this battle royal. But quite frankly, I actually didn't think it was going to happen. I wanted him to win, but I didn't think it was going to happen. But then he did. But before we get to that, the battle royal itself, for the most part, was your typical battle royal. They did have a couple of fun moments throughout it. Like, they had a couple of little tidbits that we saw in there. So before some of the things I want to mention about the actual battle royal was that I did think that Shelton and Cedric got an early elimination. I thought they could have lasted in there a lot longer. I liked that Ali eliminated Mace. I thought that was a cool little spot there. The Ali spot where he was eliminating T-Bar, I thought that was almost going to be super cool, but unfortunately, I didn't think it was executed very well. So that kind of ended up, it started out cool, and then it just didn't end up cool. Buddy Murphy taking Garza's pants off was a little funny bit of a moment. Ricochet, the way that he eliminated Ali was really, really awesome. The three final guys ended up being Corbin, Jey Uso, and Shinsuke Nakamura. At this point, I was like, all right, it's either going to be Shinsuke or Corbin. It should be Jey Uso, but I thought it was going to go to Corbin or Shinsuke Nakamura. But Nakamura ended up eliminating Corbin, and the final two were Nakamura and Jey Uso, and Jey Uso won. I love this. I really, really did. I thought that it was well-deserved. I know I saw some people saying that this was Nakamura's moment. I have to completely disagree with that. I think Nakamura's moment sadly has passed as of right now. I actually thought that it was proper and well-deserved for Jey Uso to win this Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So I am 100% happy with the outcome of this. And let's see what else we have here. This is from Tamzid, who says, so will Jimmy Uso return to help or turn on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 37? So I've been wondering about this because I interviewed Jey Uso, when was it? Ahead of his match, ahead of his steel cage match with Daniel Bryan. I interviewed him, and he told me, he said directly to me, to my face, he said that to keep my eyes open because Jimmy Uso was coming. He didn't say when, but he basically said that he was coming real, real soon. Now, I didn't press for details because I want to be surprised. I didn't want any spoilers, but I could read between the lines, and he said that he would be coming. And so I was expecting him that Friday night SmackDown. It didn't happen. We had a pay-per-view after that. I was expecting him there. Didn't happen. So now I'm kind of thinking, all right, are we really going to see Jimmy? Like, what went wrong here? Was he supposed to come in sooner and then didn't? Or has this always been the plan? I do not know, because I was convinced that we would already have had seen him back prior to WrestleMania. Given the conversation that I had with Jey Uso, I really did think that at this point, we would have already seen a return of Jimmy Uso. But that is not the case either. Joseph says, Jey has made chicken salad out of chicken shit, and I think this is a pick him up win for Jey. And storyline, he didn't get the win because it was more about Roman. Obviously, exactly. And let's see what else we have here. This one is from Pomi, who says, in another timeline, Jey Uso could have challenged Big E for the Intercontinental title. Yeah. Someone also mentioned they could have done Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens. That could have been another option. I agree with that there. And Cyclops says, they need to give Jey an icy run while Roman has the big belt. He earned and deserved it. I agree there too. And we have a comment from Vids who says that Jey should be booked to have a big ego from this and go for the IC title, then decide to come after Roman at SummerSlam. All I know is that Jey Uso proved himself. He proved himself to be more than just a tag team guy, which really, there's a lot to brag there too, because the Usos are an incredible tag team. One of the best tag teams overall. So now that he's proven himself as a tag team, he's proven himself, to be part of a great tag team, but he's also proven himself as a singles wrestler. And that's obviously two very different things that he had to do. So yes, Pro Wrestling also points out that Jey Uso needs a real program post-Mania, and definitely agrees that Jey versus KO would have made sense at Mania. Yeah, that could have definitely been an option there. Okay, so right after this, Roman Reigns' music hits. He comes out with Paul Heyman, and they cut to commercial. We return from commercial, and this is essentially Roman Reigns' part. So we already had seen Daniel Bryan cut a fantastic promo. We saw Edge cut his promo, and then next up was Roman Reigns. Now, so he right off the bat, I love that he opened it up with the fact that he was annoyed that he even had to be there. He was just like, I'm annoyed to even be here. I'm not running for president, he says. I don't have to sell myself to you. And I'm thinking, yes. I love this Roman. I love the Roman that doesn't give a rat's ass about anybody's opinion, doesn't care about anybody because he knows who he is. His ego is so high. His confidence is so high. He is on a high horse. That is who the tribal chief is. That is who the head of the table is. And that is what he presented in this promo. And so he goes on to say that he has other things to worry about, that he shouldn't be there, that he has to worry about the fact that he could lose his title even if he's not pinned. So when he said that, I thought to myself, oof, is Daniel Bryan going to pin Edge and then, Roman Reigns is essentially going to lose his title that way? I don't know if that was a precursor to what we may see at WrestleMania. I don't know, but that when he said that immediately popped into my head. He then goes on to say that he changed the ratings for the show and that he made the title relevant. I love this because this feels very true. A lot of what he says has a lot of truth to it, so I did like this. And he goes on to say, quote, you think what I did this year is special? Wait till you see what I do next. And that was a great way to sort of wrap things up. He also says, quote, that he's the man with a golden hand and everything he touches has a purpose. And this was a fantastic promo. I would rate Daniel Bryan's the best, Roman Reigns the second best, Edge is the third best promo for tonight on my scale here. So with that being said, I open up the floor to everybody here. Also, with that being said, you've heard what they all had to say. Daniel Bryan, Edge, Roman Reigns. Who do you think should actually be walking out as champion come WrestleMania? Have you switched your opinions on who you originally wanted to win? Have you switched it over? Have you not switched it over? What are your thoughts here? Let's see what we have here. And we will talk about, remind me, I still need to talk about Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, because I do got a lot of comments on that one here. But we do have a comment from Brandon about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He says that they need to shorten the name because it's way too many syllables. Yeah, it kind of is. And I kind of feel like you have to say the whole thing, because I feel like if I were just to say the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, I don't know. I feel like I have to say the whole thing. And all right, let's see what else we have here. All right, we have a comment from Vids who says that they would like to see Roman retain and then get attacked by Jimmy, then have Roman make Jey fight his brother, and they both turn on him. Oof. Christopher Marino says Roman. Joseph Boza says Daniel Bryan pins Edge to win the title. And Pro Wrestling says they better not have Edge or Bryan pin the other to win the strap at Mania. I hate when that happens in a triple threat match. It would be especially bad in the biggest match of the year. BM says Bryan winning with an Edge pin would lessen his victory and would bury Edge. Interesting. That would be interesting. Yeah. And Oscar says Bryan for the win. All right. I'm seeing more Roman Reigns here and a couple of Daniel Bryan picks here. And let's see what else we have here. Okay, cool. So good stuff there, guys. Now, one of the other things that I do want to talk about, obviously, because this announcement was made today, and that is that going into night one of WrestleMania, the main event for the night is going to be Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. And this is very exciting. Obviously, people were talking about the historical meaning of this match. People have covered that all over the place. What are your thoughts on this? Do you guys, are you guys happy that this match is happening as the main event? Do you think there should have been another match that it could have taken its place? And I'll kind of give my thoughts here. So, okay, here we go. We have a comment from Oscar. I'll kick things off with Oscar, who says that so happy that this is going to be the main event. Yeah, honestly, I think so too, because I'm looking at the night one matches. We have Sasha, Bianca, Bobby Drew. We have the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match. We have the New Day match with AJ and Omos. We have the Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon match. We have the Cesaro, Seth Rollins, and the tag team turmoil. Looking at all of these matches, obviously the options were either Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, or Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. But I actually think it was the right call to do Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair as the actual main event, only because now I do think, now let me just add to this because I want to add to this first. I do think that the Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, and I've said this so many times, the build to this should have been a million times better. They did them wrong by not doing the build that they should have done for this match, which is a very, very unfortunate. I do think, though, that the Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre match has had a way better build than Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. So I do get why some people would probably say that Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre deserves to be the main event. And in some cases, I do agree with that because they did have a stronger build. And I always think that the strongest build or the match that's the hottest feud should be the main event. And so I do agree with that. But I feel that given that a lot of people really wanted it to be Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, that tells me that that was the right call to make, that it was the right call to have Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair as the main event. Also, Drew McIntyre should be the first person to come out. He should be the person to get that massive pop, the return pop for, hey, we're back. We've been through this pandemic. We're finally, like they said, back in business. So you have people there. I think that Drew McIntyre is the person that should have that like big moment right at the top of the show. So I agree, and I'm happy that they made Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair as the main event. So, oof, what are you guys saying here? All right, this comment is from Tater the Penguin, who says, Sasha versus Belair is the match I'm looking forward to most from either night. Very glad that it's main eventing. Vid says, I feel like if they don't let Sasha and Bianca book their own match and let it rock out, it will be weak. I don't think it will. I think it will be a good match. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that it is going to be a good match. Joseph says, love Bianca, but the build to this has been super weak. They could have done so much better with this feud. 100% agree with this statement as well. D-Train points out that the opening match should be Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Kaled says that Sasha should win hands down. Oh man, Oscar also says that he hopes Sasha should retain. I'm actually kind of shocked that I'm seeing a lot of people here saying that Sasha should retain, because I actually think that we're going to be seeing, I actually think we're going to be seeing Bianca Belair come out as champion tomorrow, and I'm feel sort of confident on that. I really, really do. We have a super chat from Brandon. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, if there is a ding dong hello segment at Mania, Becky Lynch is walking through that door, the people will lose their minds and probably burn down the pirate ship down to the ground. Maybe not, but I get what you're saying. So again, that tweet, that Instagram post that Becky shared did have the first letter of each word spelled out, night one. So maybe she's teasing, maybe she's serious. We don't know. We're gonna find out. I would love to see Becky Lynch night one of WrestleMania. It would feel like a big deal, and it would be something to get excited about, like really, really excited about. Heck, maybe she even comes out after the main event. I don't know. We'll see. Brandon, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And all right, here we go. We have more comments here about this. BM says, Belair, I think, wins because Banks' current heel character isn't heel enough anymore. And that's because they didn't build her as a strong heel heading into this match. They should have made her into a very strong heel. It's not hard to. Bianca is a natural babyface. She's a natural babyface. They just needed to make Sasha Banks into a bigger heel. I really do think so. Draper Dawn says, well, it's one thing to want Sasha to win or to feel like she deserves it. It's another to call Bianca will win, nonetheless, due to booking. I think the former, Sasha needs her Mania moment. Yeah, and that's another argument that people can make too, that Sasha Banks needs her WrestleMania moment as well. And let's not forget everything that Sasha Banks did heading into, leading up to her even becoming SmackDown Women's Champion. Like everything that she and Bayley did. I mean, that Hell in a Cell match was incredible. Now her as champion, like we also want to enjoy that as well, which is why I'm saying that this build for this match could have been a lot better, because you have so much stakes riding into whether or not Sasha Banks retains her title. But then you also have a lot with, wow, this is Bianca's moment. Is she going to get it? Like, this is it. Like, she's the ultimate babyface at this point. So again, had this been built stronger, I think that people would have, been able, like this would have been really 50-50. Now, heading into this match, I still do feel like it's 50-50 though, because I really do not know who is going to walk out as champion, because I do think that both sides of, hey, Sasha Banks should retain, or hey, Bianca Belair should win, I think both sides are coming in strong. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my SmackDown post show. I want to thank each and every single person who tunes in every week, whether you're watching on a replay, whether you're listening to the audio version of this. Please make sure to come back next week. Again, for those of you guys who don't already know, I do have 3 shows now on F4W Online. That is gonna next week, literally the 13th, I start doing NXT on Tuesdays. I continue on Wednesdays, AEW Dynamite, and then once again, Fridays, I will be back for SmackDown. Also, for those of you guys who missed my announcement earlier, tomorrow I will be on WWE's The Great Debate. That comes on at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. It should be across their social media, digital pages and all of that. I'll share the links once I see it posted. I'll make sure to share them on my social media handles. But I'm essentially arguing with RJ City and Matt Camp about what I think is the best WrestleMania entrance, and they share their picks as well. So we kind of all argue a little bit, and Evan Mack, who is the judge in all of this, decides who is the victor in all of that. So it's a really fun, probably 30-minute show. So if you guys want to check it out, I will be sharing the links. Also, after WrestleMania Night 1 and after WrestleMania Night 2, I will be live on my channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. I will be recapping the shows. Just like I did this show, I will be on there chatting with everybody, talking about everything that went down on the show. Also, one last thing. Sorry, there's so much to plug here. One last thing, I do have an interview up right now on youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. I have an interview up with Braun Strowman, the monster amongst men. He's going to have his steel cage match against Shane McMahon, and we talk about it. We talk about it there, and we also just play like a quick 10-question lightning round game where he answers a bunch of random questions about himself. It's a really, really good time, so make sure to check that out tomorrow. Guys, I will see you back here on Tuesday for NXT coverage. Until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. Enjoy WrestleMania week. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.